We're live.
Welcome, everyone, to another Black Pros Club podcast. We are very excited to be going live on a Monday night. This is a little different for us, but I think this is going to become our norm for the time being. So we're just kind of testing out this Monday night. We're going to wait for some people to come in, but in the meantime, just want to introduce ourselves. So Black Pros podcast, where Black lives, Black voices, and Black stories have always mattered. I'm your host this evening. My name is Oshale. Oshi Reads here on YouTube, Instagram, Oshi Reads _, Twitter, Oshale _O'Day.
I'm Brittany, aka Melanin Eclectic, on all platforms. You can catch me on different Instagrams, Melanin Eclectic and Short Melanin Eclectic, and I'm also on Twitter at Melanin Eclectic and YouTube as Melanin Eclectic.
Hello, everyone. I am Troy Nicole. I am here on YouTube at Inkfleur Studio, as well as the Bookish Waffler for my BookTube channel. On Instagram, I am Bookish Waffler, and on Twitter, I am Bookish Inkfleur.
So, welcome to tonight's podcast, everyone. We have a very interesting topic on the creator side. Our topic tonight is BookTube worth it? And we're talking more on the creator side, but we're also going to talk about viewership and what it's like on the flip side. Is it still worth it to tune in and watch? What are the creators that are getting the views? What are the types of videos that people seem to be interested in watching? And yeah, so I guess we can go ahead and get started.
I think we should start from the very obvious side. Actually, no, we're still in like the first 5 minutes of the podcast. So like, let's have a shoot in the breeze moment while we wait for people to come in, because they usually roll in between 5 and 10 minutes.
This is true.
So, the real question of the day is, what are y'all currently reading?
Okay, I like this question.
Me too. Let me go to my Kindle.
Right? Look, bully romances for the win.
Did you say bully romances?
Don't get Brittany started. Don't get Brittany started.
Look.
God.
Bully romances are basically like, they rely heavily on that like Beauty and the Beast trope / the trope where or like enemies to lovers, where basically it takes it up one step further in terms of like being dark romance, where the male protagonist is just really, really horrible to the female protagonist and bullies the hell out of her until they fall in love. And they usually take place in like high school or college.
Well, Brittany is just ignoring that.
I'm gonna respect your choice to read what you want to read.
Well, I almost talked to y'all about this yesterday because this one bully romance I'm reading, and I'm not going to call out the author because I'm going to complain. But book was so misogynistic in the way that the girl was the only one being hurt and tormented. And like multiple, and yeah, okay, obviously a bully romance, like the girl is being bullied. But it's a fine line because you still want the readers to believe that she would still fall in love with this person that's treated her poorly. So it's a very fine line and a balancing act. Also, there has to be a believable enough reason for why he was treating her bad, usually some kind of misunderstanding or lie, that you're like, okay, I understand why he was upset and that he was so angry with her. I can buy into this love story. Well, this particular bully romance I was reading was a trilogy. So it's 3 books, and the girl was treated so badly. When I tell you, trigger warning for abuse, sexual abuse, verbal abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, and like nothing was happening to the men. Usually it's a little bit more balanced where, okay, the girl's being bullied, but then she also fights back and kind of like gets her own too. But this was so lopsided, and the society that this book took place in was so incredibly misogynistic and harmful to women that it literally made me angry while I was reading it.
I mean, at this point, the comments are asking who wrote this book, what a book is this? Like,
okay, so you
might as well just share
because people are asking. I just finished reading them recently, But it is, I'm going to my Kindle right now to pull it up. But while I'm pulling it up, when I tell y'all, it was pretty bad. It got to the point where I was wondering how a female author could have written this story, because it was so incredibly misogynistic and so harmful. Like, I was like, if I was a young girl reading this, I would be traumatized. Thank goodness I'm an adult. And I was just like, when I tell y'all, just like trigger warning for every single type of abuse you can imagine, like horrific things happening to this girl, and her just bouncing back. And I'm like, no, I'm devastated. I need a moment. Like, she's just like, okay, I'm just going to move on. I'm like, I haven't moved on. I'm still here. I'm still upset. But the trilogy is the Rydeville Elite trilogy, high school bully romance by Siobhan Davis. She's a very popular author in the sense of like writing bully romances, darker romances, that type of stuff. All of her books are on Kindle Unlimited, and she's very popular. I think I even follow her on Instagram. So that's why I was a little hesitant to say anything, but I was just like, these books are legit harmful. Like, this isn't just like psychologically fun and dark romance anymore. This is like, okay, did something happen to you? Do you need therapy? Like, did you write this book because you needed, I don't even know.
I mean, I personally, also, is that my mic giving that after sound? I'm not sure. If it is, I'm sorry. I'm working on it. I was about to say, as a person who doesn't read romances, I always wonder about these, I guess we're going to call them dark romances, in the sense where it's like, is that what you wanted to happen when the bully was bullying you? Like, you wanted to just fall in love? Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna let y'all have that. I'm not going into a full romance discussion today. I'm not doing it.
Well, I realized for me personally, the reason I like the bully romances is because I really enjoy like psychological stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like when things are a bit of a mind fuck and you're trying to figure out what's happening. It's kind of like how people like psychological thrillers.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of like mental gymnastics and you trying to be like, okay, what in the world? And there's all this psychological stuff going on in terms of trying to figure out how somebody's brain works and their mind works. And that's why I like dark romances, but I prefer the authors who actually do write more on the psychological side. And it's literally not just like every little, like, it's not like they just have a list of traumas next to their computer and every scene they just check off a trauma. Okay, I've included this trauma, let's move on. Okay, next chapter I've included, like, that's what reading this book felt like. And it did not feel like this psychological battle that I enjoy of like, okay, what's going on? Okay, is this person a sociopath? Is this person interesting? Like, it didn't give me that, which is what I usually get from the dark romances that I enjoy reading. So it just gave me nothing but pain, really.
She said nothing but pain. No.
But you know, it's one of those things where like I couldn't DNF it. I could not stop reading. I had to know what happened in the end. I had to know how she was going to make this all okay and wrap this up. And I really want to give y'all an example, but I don't want to spoil it for people who would want to read it. But I feel like I want to give y'all an example that basically just will let you know this book in a nutshell.
Wow. I just
Social is always bringing some interesting.
Yeah, I was about to say, why you always got to read the books that got like interesting themes that we could discuss and all that other stuff? It's always your books that has left us with conversations.
If anyone in the comments is interested and not going to get spoiled or want to read it, I will give you a scenario so you know exactly what I'm talking about. But other than that, I'm keeping it to myself.
Yeah, we're gonna we'll have a special romance one, since apparently romance is like our main topic on this podcast. Like,
how does that happen every time?
I don't know.
I blame Openly.
I blame you too, because I surely don't advertise it.
I cannot. Well, you asked us what we were reading, and that's like the most interesting in the sense of me being like emotionally and mentally scarred. Interesting book that I'm reading at the moment.
Okay, well, Troy, what are you reading?
Yeah, let's move on.
You know what? I got so engrossed. I forgot to go look at my
Oh
Okay.
man,
Okay.
I can't.
I am currently doing a reread because I was like going through a mini slump, and I was like, okay, let me go reread something that I know will get me wanting to read again. I was reading The Perfect First by Maya Hughes, and it's basically about this girl who decides that since her whole life is basically all about her dad like controlling her, that she's just going to like do a whole bunch of firsts that she's never gotten to do because he kind of like stifled her. And so she puts out an ad for someone to pop her cherry. We're going to
Well, okay.
after college, right? And
Right.
by accident, one of the football players thinks that she's somebody else. He does not answer the ad. He goes there thinking she's somebody else, and then he's like, "What the heck are you talking about?" She's asking him all these questions, and he basically calls her crazy, and that's dangerous, and yada yada yada. They become friends, and he volunteers to help her with every first minus that one. So basically, that's like the whole premise of the story.
Ah,
Cute.
okay.
It's cute. I love it. You should read it, O'Shelley.
I should. That sounds really cute.
I'm glad that you specifically said Oshale and not even wasted your time telling me anything.
No, I would never tell Brittany to read anything.
We've
I don't
learned
want
our
that to eat.
lesson, Brittany.
Let's see. I started re-listening to the Lunar Chronicles,
How was that?
and I started back reading. So like, I stopped reading books for a while just because it just felt like a chore. So I was only listening to audiobooks. But I've gone back to start reading books again. So I'm back on my Kindle and we're back to Rebel Sisters. And what makes me laugh is that Rebel Sisters is not a bad story at all. It's just the fact that I had to sit down and actually open a book that was like, I don't feel like opening books. Like, and then my brain was like, I could totally like read this book early and I can get a review out early and that would get me views. And then I was like, I also don't care about that.
Right.
So here we are.
Here we are.
So here's the question that I can ask first, because do you think that BookTube is worth it for you?
For me, I'll say that I think it's worth it for my reasoning for being on BookTube. Like my reasoning for being on BookTube was literally just to talk about books and talk to like-minded people about books, similar to like being in this book club. So for that reason, I would say it is for me personally, because that's all I've ever really thought about getting from it.
Okay.
Okay. Here's my complicated multi-dimensional answer. BookTube is worth it for me for like the connections I've made, the friendships I've made, the people I've met, the conversations I've had about books, and how I've gained this whole community now that I feel like I can reach out to and fangirl out about specific books or genres. So BookTube is worth it for me for the community that I have had a chance to have access to and gotten out of, the friendships I've made and things like that. And even the opportunity to receive ARCs and, you know, work with different publishers and things like that, I feel like has been really interesting. On the creator side, for me personally, BookTube has become very stifling. I've realized, just for me personally, that what I really enjoy about books is not necessarily being like, oh, I read this book, this is what it was about, 5 stars, 4 stars, I hated it, 2 stars. Oh, let me show you all these books I bought. Oh, let me, you know, have a video where you watch me read and somehow we're all, you know, reading together. Like, for me, what I really enjoy about the book community is what books bring out of us. Like, I love those deeper conversations about, I read this book, it made me think about this childhood memory, I related to it because of this book touched me because of this. And I feel like there's not enough of that side of things. It can be very surface level. I mean, you even have people, there was this whole debate on Bookstagram where people were saying, and I know this is not booktube, but it's still a bookish creator space. But there's this whole debate on Bookstagram about, oh, we just want to talk about books on Bookstagram. We don't want to talk about racism, and we don't want to talk about politics. And I'm like, how can you as a reader say that you don't want to talk about these deeper issues when whole revolutions were started because of books?
Ooh.
And this is how we shared ideas, and this is how we enlightened people, and this is how we spread like so much. I mean, I don't understand it. Like, books are like the written word is the foundation of society. So it just frustrates me, like, when booktube can be a little bit too superficial and too much about the aesthetic and like 5 stars and 4 stars and, oh, let's all read this popular young adult book. So for me as a creator, it's felt very stifling for the past few years because I'm bored with it now. I'm bored with it. The stuff that people want to watch, I don't want to make that content because I find it to be very superficial and oversaturated. And I'm having trouble trying to transition myself into making the content I do want to make because I feel like I've put myself in this box that I feel like I've outgrown. So that's where I'm at.
Oh. Yeah. I'm trying to think of like the best way to put this without just being terribly blunt. I'm only on YouTube because I'm still monetized, and literally all of my book friends made sure that I was monetized so that I wouldn't leave. I was like, I forgot this is a podcast. We don't have to be as censored as our lives. So,
oh no, Justin.
Real honesty here. The entire reason that I guess the reason that my name is even Melanin Eclectic is because I refuse to sit in any space where I didn't feel I wanted to be. So keeping my name with something like Melanin Eclectic, it just means that I'm black as fuck and I'm a little bit weird and like a little bit of everything. So my name, the way that I structured my channel allows me to make shifts in my channel and what I offer whenever I feel like it. So at one point I really was doing only book videos for a while, book and planner videos. Yeah. And I'm transitioning into another portion of my channel right now. And that's mainly because, like Oshla and Troy were saying, I've built some great connections with other booktubers and other book content creators in the community that have given me this sense of like, I no longer need to make videos just to talk about books. I can just send them a direct message and be like, yo, did you read? Yes, you need to read this, you know? Yeah. And that's really what from what I understand, a lot of us started our book channels because we wanted a place, an outlet to gush about books because the communities that we were in didn't have that space. So now that some of us are seeking actual relationships and having real communication, it's like when I see all that drama and stuff going on BookTube, I'm like, I don't even need to be here. Yeah. I got friends. I talk to them every day now. So like I can gush via text message and be fine. And then also, I personally didn't want to make myself feel like I had to read just to produce content. So that was another reason. Because I mean, I haven't really been in a reading mood most of this year. Right. And I was like, that's why I moved it down to just one day, Wednesdays for books, because I was like, I can still do book videos, but it's not going to be a chore. Reading is supposed to be for you. And after a while, you start looking at, oh, I did the same kind of video that so-and-so did, and they got this many views, and I only got this many views, or I don't understand how this person has this many subscribers. I don't even, they're trash. Like, how do they get here and I don't? Like, this person just started yesterday. Like, you get to a point where the whole time you're on BookTube, you spend your time comparing it to other people and trying to figure out why you're not where they are.
Right. It is a very slippery slope where it becomes, it's that place where it's never going to be enough, right? You're never going to have enough subscribers. You're never going to have enough likes on a video. You're never going to have enough views. You're never going to have enough engagement, And so when you reach a milestone, you're looking to the next milestone. So sometimes you can't even be like, oh my God, like I have 100 subscribers. I have 1,000. This is amazing. You can't even bask in it and enjoy it because you're constantly looking at the next person and be like, well, they started the same time as me and they have like way more, like, I don't understand what's going on. Like, okay, maybe I need to step it up. Okay, maybe I need to make more videos. Okay, maybe I need to be more this. And so it becomes like this rat race where you're constantly trying to reach the next plateau and you're kind of chasing your tail a little bit, constantly trying to get more subscribers, get more views, get more this and more that. And because this space is growing and there's more competition now, and there's a lot of weird favoritism with the YouTube algorithm where it promotes one person's channel or one type of channel or one type of booktube video or booktuber over the next and things like that. It can become very demoralizing where you can lose your faith a little bit and be like, well, maybe I'm not supposed to be here. Maybe I'm not supposed to be making videos because clearly I'm not having the same, level of success as XYZ.
Yeah.
That I agree with. It can be only if, because everyone's like, oh, well, just do it for the love of doing it and don't think about, but I feel like that's easier said than done. Because
it's easier to say that when you have like 100,000 subscribers. Okay.
That too. That too. Like when you're actually making a livable income off of your hobby that has become your job, or you're getting all the opportunities and you're the one that, Harper Teen is doing, Instagram lives with, and you're the one interviewing the authors and you're the one having panels at BookCon and things like that. It's very easy for you to then look at someone else and say, oh, well, just do it for the love of it and just have fun. It's very easy to say that when you're sitting from a position where you have achieved all these amazing things. It doesn't mean that you didn't work hard for them, but it does mean that you have like a glass half full, rosy glasses type of perspective because it's gone in your favor.
Right.
So it's a lot easier. And because I tell myself that all the time, like, I'm like, oh, this is a hobby. And for me, it really, truly is a hobby because I have so much going on outside of the internet that it would be very stressful for me to try to make it into a job, like very stressful. So for me, I'm just like, it's just a hobby. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy being a part of the community. But you still have that whole thing in the back because we're human. We want to be successful and we want people to watch our videos. We put a lot of time into this stuff.
Yep. I had to stop myself from saying something. I was like, wait a minute, nah.
Wait, why?
Well, I feel like because we talk about this in our chat all the time about like how, like I'll even use you two as an example. Like both of you have gone into directions where like you feel you're supposed to be, where you're focusing more on writing and Troy's got journaling and her journaling videos. Like the direction that you take should be for what you want and what you enjoy because, yeah, like down to the last page said, like talk about what you want and people will find you.
Right.
And like, so you have to constantly remind yourself like, okay, because I mean, okay, we'll do a candid example. I'm doing this beginner bullet journal series on my channel because it was highly requested. In the past couple of months, they are my least viewed videos.
What?
Do you not know how, like, that's discouraging.
Even if it was highly requested?
Yes, because, I get a lot of questions and they're like, can you show me how to do this? Can you show me how to do that? And I was like, bet, I'll do a series. They don't even break 100 anymore, and transparency wise, my brain works in two different ways. One, I've been wanting to do a beginner bullet journal series for like 2 years. And the original time that I didn't do it was because I was doubting myself and telling myself like, I'm not somebody that people would want to see.
Oh no, Brittany.
And then, I mean, it's transparency. So I'm over it now. So we can talk about it. Then I did it now, and I'm proud of myself for doing it. A, because I have not missed an episode yet. And then B, I just like doing it.
Yeah.
So
It's for you, it's like a pleasure to do. It's like a joy.
yeah, it's like, will these videos get viewed one day? Probably. I don't know, but I do know that I'm officially, because eventually Melanin Eclectic is gonna have bullet journals and stuff like that. So it's like promoting things that I will be doing. Because again, I am about my money on social media. Anybody who talks to me regularly knows my mission on social media is money.
Yes.
I see no other reason for me to be on social media. Anybody that I truly care about, I have their phone numbers. That's just what it is. So I've been using that as an example. Like, okay, yes, it did not get the views, but did you like doing it? Because at the end of the day, it's your channel.
Yes.
Like, yes, people view it, but people view it because it's the stuff that you put on your channel.
Right.
So you have to really sit there and understand, like, yes, you need the subscribers, you need the watch time. I get it. Trust me, I get it. But I don't look at those videos with regret anymore. I used to look at my videos that did poorly with regret. And I remember how when I did that Tochi interview and I was so mad that it wasn't getting views, and I felt like I needed to apologize to him because like he deserved like views and it should have been on a better channel.
Yeah, I do remember.
Like, I beat myself up over stupid stuff like views. Like, views are great. Yes, they make coin. Yes. But the content that I'm making, I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
So
I think that's important.
Switch it.
I think that's definitely important, is making content that you yourself would watch and that you not only enjoy making, but like you said, are proud of it. I absolutely think that's important because people can tell when you're just making content to make content, or because it's popular, or because, you know, you're trying to do it for views. Like, I can always tell when I'm watching someone's video and you can tell they didn't enjoy making the video and they're just kind of phoning it in.
Yeah.
You can always tell. Always.
Abominable asks, does it discourage you to be as creative as you want when you create something super difficult to make and it gets minimal views?
It used to.
I'll say, go ahead, Britt.
No, you can go ahead because we haven't heard from you much.
You sure haven't.
I'll say it used to get annoying especially because, for instance, I think a lot of people think that journaling videos are very easy. It's like all you have to do is put your journal down and then sit there and do what you would normally do. But it's like, first of all, I don't know about Brittany, but I'd be sweating doing journaling.
Wow.
I'm joking. Like,
videos takes forever.
It takes me because a normal journal will take me I'll maybe do it for 2 hours. And then I'm just like, no, I cannot be sitting here doing 2-hour journal videos. But sometimes I do end up having footage that's 2 hours long. And, if I'm doing journaling just on my own, I'm probably sitting down, relaxed, got coffee, music playing. But then when I'm doing it for YouTube, it's I'm standing up the whole time. I'm making sure my camera didn't stop. I'm doing different angles. I probably had to buy different equipment for this.
Making sure you're in focus.
Oh my goodness, there's so many things. Making sure I don't move too close to the camera to be out of focus for 10 minutes, which has happened to me before. So I think sometimes it does still get to me at times, but I think I've gotten better at just saying, you know what? There is a niche for everyone on YouTube. There is nothing that you cannot find on YouTube that you are interested in that doesn't have one. It could be small like booktuber, it could be big like gamers, but there's a place for you. And I think I've gotten to a place where I'm just like, well, you know what? I like this video. I really enjoyed making it, and I like the final product.
Yeah. I mean, we like your final products too.
Oh my gosh, I love your videos. They're so aesthetically pleasing. They just give me such satisfaction when I watch them. I'm like, that was so pretty.
Yeah.
Cool. But Troy, I think it's your mic that has the feedback.
We'll figure it out. We never do. Every time we do a podcast, we have some form of tech issue.
I'm honestly starting to feel like it's StreamYard.
It
Because we
might be
never had
too.
these issues when it was YouTube using Google.
Yeah, that's true too.
I honestly do think it's StreamYard. But let me see. Oh, the question that Abominable asked. I feel, you know what's interesting? I don't really make those super uber creative videos anymore because I always take that creative energy and I turn it back into my writing.
Mm.
Because I'm just like, the amount of time that I would spend filming this, doing the voiceover, finding the right music, putting the different scenes together in aesthetic way that I would want it to be. Oh my goodness, so many hours. And if I spend all this time doing this and it doesn't get views, I'm going to be upset, not necessarily because it's like, oh, I need the views, but it's like, it's not a return. It's not a good enough return on my investment
Mm.
of the time that I've spent, that I could have been spent working on my manuscript, that I could have been spent working on a play that I'm writing, that I could have been spent honestly editing someone's work who's paying me like a good chunk of money to edit their whatever it is that I'm working on for them. So for me, that's kind of how I look at it. Like, my time is valuable and time is money. And
Yup.
I have like so much on my plate. And so it's like, if I can't get a good return on my time investment on this, it's not going to be enough for me to put it up and be like, oh, this is so good. Like, I'm just so glad that, the few people that watched it. No, 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 no. That's not good enough for me. I think that it's also a thing of, I'm not aiming to be like a filmmaker or anything like that. Because I see a lot of people who, like, that's one of the big things that they love. They love photography. They love filmmaking. So they don't necessarily care if that many people don't watch more of their more creative videos, because as a whole, it's getting them closer to where they want to be skill wise on what they love doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's just
like
like,
practice.
yes, it's like, you know what? This is what I want to be doing, like, eventually. So it doesn't matter if it does not getting the views right now, but I'm going to build that audience of people who like these type of videos, because ultimately this is what I want to do. Like, I see a lot of that on different people's channels, not just on BookTube. And I appreciate the artistry of what they're doing. And I can see their vision. But since that's not my end goal, it's just not necessarily worth it for me to spend a lot of time doing those more creative videos.
You bring, valid points. I mean, that's how I feel about my bullet journal videos right now. Like, it's literally one of those things where I do want to up my editing game, because at some point I need to make my own little graphic commercials.
Mm-hmm.
That's why y'all been seeing all these gifts and stuff for the book club thing, because I'm teaching myself how to do things so I can make better marketing tools, or better marketing anything, for like anything we do at the book club, or anything we do at my business. Like, I'm teaching myself. So sometimes if I add something new to a video, I'm adding it because I wanted to learn how to do it. So like, I used to be so hung up on, dang, like, why is nobody watching my stuff? Am I that terrible? To, all right, well, what am I going to do in this video that's going to give me something that can benefit me? Because again,
a new skill.
My mindset is like, I want to make money.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes. Also, I have to acknowledge too that there are people who spend so much time on their BookTube and their BookTube videos because it's their happy place, and it's a happy escape from what they have going on in their lives, and it brings them genuine joy. And you can tell when you watch those people's videos. And for those people, it's completely worth it, for like the level of like self-care and enjoyment that they get out of it. And so I have to acknowledge that those people do exist, where it truly doesn't matter to them. I mean, I'm sure it matters on some level, but it truly doesn't bother them about, as much about views and subscribers and things, because BookTube is their escape.
Yeah. And to those people, thank you.
And I love when I see those people finally like blow up and succeed, and people find their channel, because to me, those are the people that deserve it. I mean, obviously we deserve it. There are a lot of other people that deserve it, but like, it just brings my heart joy when I see those people who I've been watching since they had like 10 subscribers, 50 subscribers, 100, whatever. And you can tell they just love it so much, and it's an escape for them, and they get genuine satisfaction and joy out of it. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, YouTube algorithm, the people at YouTube decide this person this week is going to be recommended to everybody.
Despite you blocking them and everything, you still gonna see them on your recommended, sis. I've tried it.
And then you see their channel take off, and maybe they've been doing it for years, and they're like 500 videos deep. And then all of a sudden their channel blows up, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so happy for them. There are other people that I'm like, oh my God, why?
Also, like, shout out to Ted. We haven't seen you in a while.
Yes, Ted, we've missed you.
What do you think of booktubers who praise books mainly due to sponsorships when the book themselves aren't accurately represented?
Where to begin?
Thanks, Ted. I'm trying to get us canceled.
Okay. Okay, you know what? I've talked enough. Somebody else talk.
You're the most eloquent, though. You know, I cannot answer this question.
Everyone is eloquent. This is something that we were talking about in the group chat, and I feel that this is a safe space. It's not, but it's fine. I really hate, it's not so much the sponsorships that bother me, because let me tell you what, book Twitter is the wild, wild west now. And if you get caught sponsoring a book just for the money and it's not good quality, they will drag you out into the middle of the book Twitter streets and shoot you dead. You will be run out of town. You will be dragged for filth. So that doesn't really happen as much anymore. But what does happen is people who are friends with the author and they promote the book as like, oh, this is so amazing. I loved it. And either A, they didn't read the book, or B, they did read the book and they're lying, because then you read the book and you're like, what happened here? What actually happened?
Why do I feel like I know the book you're talking about?
Then you get angry because you're like, oh, so they're your friend, or, you know, I don't even know, you have some type of personal relationship with this person. And so you decided to, you know, falsely advertise, and you couldn't stay neutral like you should have. And so now I spent money on this, and now here we are. That I don't like.
I think that despite what people want to say, you accept sponsorships for the coin or whatever exchange you're accepting, and listen, go for it, get your coin. But also, if you have an audience big enough to be sponsored, it means that they see you as a good marketing tool.
Yes.
So by accepting that sponsorship, you are accepting the responsibility that comes with that marketing, because it is marketing.
It is.
You got paid. The video is sponsored. You exchanged some type of currency that made you feel like making a video was worth it.
Yep.
So if you take on that responsibility and the book was piss poor, listen, I don't expect anything. If people ask me to read the book, I tell them straight up, I'll read the synopsis, but if I don't like the book, I'm not talking about it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think that's what people don't realize is YouTubers in general have a power.
So much power.
And we let companies take advantage of us because we don't understand where our power lies. Like, they see us as perfect marketing tools. They pay marketing companies thousands, millions of dollars to be on commercials that are shorter than the videos that you are filming and producing yourself. So if you are only being used as a vessel because they sent you a free book and you're excited, and you think that's the only way they're going to call you back, then you're setting yourself up for a situation that is like, because I only talk about books I like, and if I don't like it, y'all will know.
Exactly. Especially now where there are resources where you can find out how to write to publishing companies and you can find out how to get arcs. You do not need to feel forced to advertise for free on your channel, spending time and effort making this video when you could have gotten that arc for free.
Right. And it's like, also keep in mind, there are some people who get sent arcs and get paid to make a video about them. Remember that.
Disrespect.
And no, and that was not me throwing shade to the people who get paid to do that. I'm really trying to reiterate that, like, we have way more power and you can demand that you get paid. This is a job. To some people, it's a hobby. Good. Don't accept sponsorships. But it can pay you well if you do it right. So, and then also, again, especially if you choose to support a book where the community where the book was supposed to represent said it was trash.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. We keep saying that over and over. Stay in the lane that God put you in.
Please.
If you are not the person that it represents, stop accepting books and then coming out and talking about I can't relate, or saying it's a good read, it's something everybody should read, and not giving any real substance. So
those are my favorite.
Those are my two favorite things when somebody who is not in the community speaks. But and then another thing I noticed with this same question is it'll be some people that will try to die on this horse. Well, they're like, well, I didn't really know it was offensive, but I mean, I still liked it. What?
No, baby, what is you doing?
It's okay to like a book, but it's also okay to be like, whoa, wait, what? I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to reevaluate this book.
That's literally exactly how I felt about Eleanor and Park, like years ago when the hype was so huge. I read it, I loved it. And then I started seeing videos come out where people were like, this book is racist, you know, Asian people coming out and saying like, this is not okay. And I had to take a few steps back. I was like, hold on a minute. What did I miss? And I had to go back and I read the problematic scenes and I was like, wow, how did I completely not see this? How did I miss this? This was my ignorance. This was my complete oversight because I'm not part of the Asian community and I didn't see this. And I was like, this is wild. And I completely changed my mind on that book.
Yeah.
I would like to add also is that there are no race of people that are a monolith. So, you know, there will be books that certain Black people love and that, you know, we may be in our chat like this book was utter trash. It's okay if one set of people like it and another set don't within the same community, but just know that both sides have an accurate feeling for that book. If one book made someone feel really good and they're just like, I love this representation, then you know what? Go ahead. People love to watch the Nicola Yoon movies. I don't really watch them. I didn't read any of the books, and that's fine. I'm not going to try to be PG. Crap.
Too late. A couple times.
I'm not going to crap on the book. I'm not going to say I may say something about the cast in the movie, but you know, as far as how that book made you feel, I think that's, you know, depends on a person and not necessarily, you know, and obviously I'm not talking about if it's racist, because if it's racist, I'm gonna side eye you. But, you know, if it's just, you know, some people like it, some people like it, and some people don't, some people don't. But don't just because we're in the same community say, well, this Black booktuber liked the book and said this about the book, so this is period.
Yeah.
For me personally, when it comes to book to movie adaptations, if it's a Black book being adapted, I have just personally made a decision within myself, myself, and I. We have come together and agreed that if it stars Yara Shahidi or the other little girl, I can't remember her name right now.
No. Amandla, not Amandla is they, but yes, okay, it's Amandla and Yara.
Okay.
Listen.
Look, my friends, my compatriots. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not going. I'm not passing go. I'm not collecting $200.
I literally did that whole speech in their names, and Ocean was like, "Nope."
Look, if they do not go out into these streets and pull some other young person and cast them,
I think the main reason that we hate it, and I know there are so many people that do not like the fact that we don't support these kind of things. It's just the fact that those books, they specifically take the time to identify the Black girl as dark skinned, and then they cast her in the movie and she's like high yellow. And it's like, I don't understand. We do have dark skinned actresses.
Or we'll have dark skinned parents and and be like the whole family will be dark skinned.
Except her.
My favorite is when the whole family is visibly Black and the girl in the family is clearly biracial.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, we recognize that she's biracial, and that's not to take away from her Blackness, but it doesn't make sense. Like, I'm looking at the parents, and then I'm like, okay, so maybe if the grandparents make an appearance, no, that's not solving it for me either. I'm confused.
That's not solving it for me either.
It's like, there's a complete disconnect. And my thing is, there needs to be representation for everybody across the board. Biracial, mixed people need representation. Dark-skinned people need representation. Male, female, whatever category you fall in. And also, light-skinned, fully Black people need representation.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody needs representation. We don't need to be taken from here like, oh, well, we can only have 5 Black people cast in movies this year, so who we gonna pick? Like, no! I don't even want to get into this rant. This is a whole nother subject. Let's move on.
I'm just gonna read this last comment. Absolutely, I'm not against sponsoring. I just worry some reviewers, if the book isn't written well or that you don't like, they need to learn how to constructive critique. I don't like this because, listen, I've seen a couple people on Twitter have very strong opinions about books, and I'm convinced that they have strong opinions about books because they want people to pop into their videos to watch reviews, because they don't actually provide context. I'm a person that believes like it's fine not to like a book. Like, you're perfectly within your right not to like a book that everybody else loved, but you're not gonna be like, oh, this book was trash. Okay, why? You can't make a 40-minute video trying to dog this book and not give me real reasons why. I need examples. If you read the book, give me examples of what you didn't like about the book. Like, it's been a thing I've seen a lot. Like, I think the most recent one I saw was the one about Poppy War. And I was just like, I don't feel like, I feel like you have a right not to like the book, but I feel like your review is lacking. And then, since we're here, this is just a PSA. Just because somebody doesn't like a book written by a person of color does not mean that they're racist. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Period.
Because I've seen that a lot on Twitter lately, and I was like, you do realize that POC authors also deserve to have well thought out critiques of their books. They don't get a pass just because right now it's cool to be a POC author. Like, they still deserve to get their books critiqued as well. I just heavily critiqued Rage of Dragons, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I found things about that book that I was like, this could be better.
Because I feel like there's this idea that, like, you automatically are saying that, okay, this character is Black, this character is Asian, this character is Latinx. And then you're saying, oh, I don't like that there's this, but if they were white, I would like this book. That's not a lot of times what people are saying, because if you want it to be equal, if you want us to, it not be like, hold up, is she Black? If you don't want that reaction anymore, then there needs to be critiquing, because if there's no critiquing, then you have books that will be out there that are horrible. And people are going to be like, oh, well, Black people don't have the best literature because we're not critiquing it. We're not saying that this isn't that good. This isn't. It's okay that it's not written well. Now, if you sitting there telling me, oh, I read this, but I couldn't really relate to the character. At you.
That's my favorite.
I'm like, but y'all be relating to wizards, dragons. Y'all be relating to
aliens.
And aliens that be having sex with other aliens.
Oh no.
That makes no sense
Make it
at
make
all.
sense.
But
Fairies. How do you relate to a fairy before you can relate to somebody of another race?
it don't make no sense. Those are times where the critiquing I side eye, but I'm not gonna critique. I'm not gonna side eye a critique if you tell me that the writing was just bad. Because let me tell you something. I've read some terrible writing from lots of different races of people. It does not
Right.
all of a sudden, oh, because we're in the height of Black Lives Matter, we're in the height of police brutality, that I can't say this book is not good.
Exactly.
The two do not correlate with each other.
Yeah. I just needed to state that TED Talk because I was like, listen. Oh, and since we're in TED Talk mode, let me make sure this is good.
Oh no.
This is to everybody who just started reading books written by Black authors. If your reasoning for why you can't relate to somebody who goes to high school and has issues in high school, like any other typical contemporary novel written by any person without specifically naming any race, the problem is not that you could not connect. The problem is that the book adamantly stated that they were Black and it made you uncomfortable. So if you feel like being honest with yourself, you could even record that honesty and have a real conversation addressing certain stereotypes that have somehow been planted into book Twitter's mind that the only thing Black people can do is be traumatized in order for the story to be worth reading. We're not allowed to be magical. We're not allowed to be normal. Having two parents is so taboo that we even have to state it in our reviews. Like, I think all of us should stay on BookTube because we have to be the people to change this narrative.
Especially the Black parent thing.
1000% agree. And I feel that if you are a non-Black person reading Black authors for the first time and you automatically only read trauma books, that's also something to examine. I think it's one thing to be like, well, I want to start with the important African American classics. I want to start with the books that are on the lists of the best Black literature, and those do tend to be the books that are about our struggles. That's fair. But if that is all you choose to reach for, and you somehow see Black literature that is fantasy, that is sci-fi, that is speculative fiction, like all these other categories where we exist, and you see that as below or beneath or not as good for some reason, you have to examine that, because there is a certain level of anti-Blackness in all of us, even in Black people. And so you have to examine why you feel like you would rather read Alice Walker, Toni Morrison, James Baldwin, but you're not going to read, Tomi Adeyemi, but you're not going to read
Tochi Onyebuchi.
You're not going to read, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to really think about that. Like, okay, why do I feel so comfortable only reading about their pain, but somehow picking up a young adult fantasy, picking up a speculative fiction, that's not literature. That's not, okay, there's some anti-Blackness there. You need to examine that.
Yes. And we're not saying that just to white people. Like, there is a deep-seated thing in Black people that we also have been trying to address. That's why we're so tired.
That is why. Because
we're fighting inside and out. It's a lot. So I think if you are a booktuber, if you are a person of color on BookTube, like, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, I'm not going to tell you to quit. It's never been what we're saying. But I think you should readjust, because make it be what you want to be. I've had people, more followers, they're like, oh, I've never heard of that book. Like, I'm going to check it out. And then I'll be like, I read this book because of you. I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
Because the whole purpose of BookTube is to read. And it has turned into something that has become very unenjoyable. And just very stressful. Like, getting on book Twitter is just dangerous. Oh my gosh. Down to the last page. This is a whole podcast full of Brittany TED Talks.
Yes.
Black romance is between two or more people who recognize themselves as being Black. Any other race involved is known as interracial
Interracial.
romance and deserves
Period.
its own category and its own
Period.
appreciation. Please stop lumping Black romance into every category just because you saw it was written by a Black author. Thank you for coming to another TED Talk.
Ooh, our chat coming alive.
Oh, yeah,
Look.
I noticed. It just got lit.
Look, when I tell you, when people start raving, oh, I read this Black romance, and I start watching the video, whether it be on BookTube or Bookstagram, and then I see all these interracial romances and all these interracial romance authors, and I know what I'm talking about because I read pretty much every genre of romance. It just makes me so angry.
Because
Like,
interracial romance deserves its own category, but instead of putting it in its own category, it's like this is the only comfortable Black that we'll accept. It's like, no, give interracial romance their hype too. Why? How do they not get their own hype? I only see them mentioned.
Can I say
when we
something?
talk about Black romances?
Can I say something I've always wanted to say?
Say it again.
Please.
I feel that people who read interracial romance. Okay, let me preface this because I don't want to offend people. I feel that some people.
Thank you. That's way better.
Okay. I feel that some people who read interracial romance who then hide that under the Black romance tab are actually ashamed of the fact that they're reading interracial romance because they don't want it. They see it either A, they do see it as some type of fetish, which see a therapist immediately, or B, they don't want to be seen as someone who sees it as a fetish or someone who sees it, like people are very weird about romance already in general. And there are certain categories of romance where people do get the side eye and they're like, well, I don't want to be seen as, this person that reads this category. So I'm just going to say I'm reading Black romance. And I'm just like, no, you're reading interracial romance and that's okay.
Right.
It shouldn't be taboo. I don't understand why you feel so uncomfortable. Have you noticed that? Like,
yes, I don't get it.
I read an interracial romance. They're like, oh, I read a romance. It's written by a Black author. That's the first thing they'll say. It was written by a Black author.
It'll be like the main girl is Black, but it's a white guy. And it's like, why? Like, we really have to start addressing that, like, these types of things come from personal issues that we've set in ourselves. And it's not our fault. We've been conditioned to believe a lot of this stuff. And it's been a lot of, oh God, I don't want to use this phrase. It's been a lot of decolonizing.
Yes, you need to decolonize your mind and become free.
Work. But like, stop lumping just because it's one Black person, stop lumping it. Everybody deserves their own space. And you keep taking away from spaces by trying to lump everybody in. It's literally like, oh, this white romance, interracial romance, and Black romance, all in one category. Why?
Why?
We keep saying we demand our own spaces and we demand to be included and we demand to be a part of the normal. But how can we make it normal if we are letting everybody just lump us together?
I agree.
Yep.
Because I don't even read romance, but I have noticed that whenever I see a list for Black romance, it's nothing but interracial romance books. And I'm like, no, this is a list for good interracial romances that you should check out. But I know people
they're afraid to say it.
Like I don't understand why there isn't categories.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. Like, people are afraid to just call it what it is.
Yeah.
And also there are authors that write multiple genres of romance.
Yes, yep. that is true.
So sometimes we will see those authors on certain lists and it's like they're misrepresented because they're full body of work. It would be better to be like, so-and-so also writes da 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 da. These are their interracial romances. These are their Black romances. This is, keep it moving. Because I read a lot of interracial authors who also write Black romance as well. They write across the board. Or I've even met some, or not met some, but read some Black authors, Black romance authors who write quote unquote white romance.
Mhm.
They exist too.
Yeah, I feel like we should start naming titles of the books instead of just lumping the authors into one category. It's like not fair to the authors. Like they're allowed to write different types of romances, but when I constantly see them on one list, it makes me think that author only does that. No,
Yes.
that author, like booktubers, have the opportunity to do whatever they want. Stop putting them in one category and not allowing them to be in multiple spaces. You could be missing out on some real good books
Yes.
Yeah.
because you're not giving the author the ability to expand. And that's not fair.
Exactly.
I'll be like,
isn't
I don't read it, but she be on this list all the time and she don't even write this.
who?
Well, no, like, because remember how people kept telling me that I needed to read what was the book? The Chloe chick, the Brown Sisters book thing.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
And like everybody was like, oh, it's such a good Black romance. And then I got it and I was like, this is not Black romance.
When you told me that, I was reading the text. And I was just like, what is she talking about? I was like, that's not. I was like, you know what? No, I'll just let her.
That's also an author that primarily writes interracial romance.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
not to
I'm a
say that
person
she
who
can't
doesn't
write
know
a Black
that.
romance. That's not to say she can't write a Black romance, but she usually doesn't. So when
Yeah.
people kept saying that, I was really confused. I was like, especially when I looked at the cover, I was like, hold on.
Okay, so I saw the cover and I was like, is somebody pranking me? And that's why I started writing on Twitter randomly. I'm like, interracial romance is its own category. It is not Black romance. It is interracial romance. Why do y'all act like it can't be its own?
Yeah, they really do.
And they get real mad when you state that. Well, it
You
has
have
a Black author. No, sis, a Black author doesn't have to only write Black romance.
This is true. I mean, oh, it's so frustrating. And it doesn't allow authors room to grow. Like I know everyone's raving about Alyssa Cole's new book that's about to come out. That's a thriller.
Alyssa Cole's writing a thriller? I missed all this.
Yeah, she has a thriller. I mean, the arc has been floating around Bookstagram and people are really hyped about it. I don't know if it's out yet, but I feel like it might as well be because I've watched so many review videos about it. But it's basically about like gentrification. But it's a thriller.
Oh.
And people are like completely confused. They're like, wait, Alyssa Cole that writes the romances? I'm like, yes.
Right. That's the thing. Stop putting them in these categories. Let them expand.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I guess we're going to try to bring that back. It's like, remember. Well, it's funny because we're talking about the authors not being able to expand. And like, that's one of the issues with being booktubers.
Yes, it is.
Like, how ironic that we're both dealing with the same issue, but it's the same community. And I actually I am more intrigued to go check out Alyssa Cole because it's a thriller.
Yes, me too. Although somebody just said it's a romantic suspense more than just. Sorry, Brittany.
Dang. And I trust Miss WOC Reader too. So
yeah, me too.
It's like, oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, because WOC be having all the answers, so I trust it.
Listen, but that's another thing. It's like, I'm glad that she is stepping out of what's considered her usual. I'm glad. And I hope that it's well received because I noticed that when certain authors step out of their normal, readers get angry.
They do.
As if it's like, you can't change. And I've also noticed that some people on YouTube have dealt with that backlash too, where it's like, you're not allowed, like, this is what we watched you for. You're not to do anything else. And it's like, come on, guys. As a community, we have got to stop limiting each other because this is ridiculous.
Honestly, too, because it's just like, okay, so if a person does all these haul videos, all these wrap-ups, and then they're just like, you know what? This Fashion Nova haul was real cute. I'm going to show everyone what I got. The comments be crazy. I be like,
yes.
Like, come on now.
I'm here to talk about books. I don't want to see clothes. Don't watch this.
Then don't watch it.
Yeah, I don't understand why people can't just not watch. Like, mostly I've seen when people start to slowly change their channel over to something else, because this is another thing that I wanted to talk about in this discussion. is that it's okay to feel that you've outgrown your passion for making booktube videos. It's
Ooh.
okay if that season of your life comes to an end and you wake up one day and you realize, you know what? I don't necessarily want to do this anymore. Whether it's you 100% are just leaving YouTube altogether and you just are doing something else with your life, or if you decide, you know, I think I want to not make book videos anymore. I think I'm just going to do journaling videos, or I think I'm going to move over to the vlogging community, or I think I'm just going to make videos about sewing. I really like sewing and like that's taken off. I think I'm going to do that. Or I'm going to become a family vlog channel. I'm going to do this. That is perfectly fine. And I find that a lot of people, this is what I find that there's a lot of hypocrisy, because if somebody has a large following and they decide to change their channel, people aren't as upset.
Yeah.
No.
But if someone has a smaller following and they decide to change their channel, oh honey, it is all sorts of, well, I didn't come here for this. Well, I don't. There's a sense of entitlement that people feel when you don't have a lot of subscribers to the content you make, versus if you are a bigger channel, then people are like, well, we're just here for you. We don't care what you do. We'll watch whatever. That's something that I've noticed, and it makes me really annoyed and also confused.
I just like the voice that you did. I'm sorry.
It was funny.
But it's like people attach value to the number of subscribers that someone has. So someone is somehow worth more as a creator and more important if they have a larger following. So if they decide to change their channel, then it's a lot more acceptable, because it's like, oh, well, you know, you have 100,000 subscribers, you have 50K, you can do whatever you want. I'm just here to watch. I'm here to support. Versus someone who has, you know, maybe 2,000, you know, a couple hundred subscribers. All of a sudden it's, well, we didn't subscribe for this. Well, we didn't ask you to start making clothing hauls and vlogs, like, and I'm just like, oh my god,
It's
like,
true.
it's like free 99 to not watch it.
free 99. Oh gosh,
but that's what we're saying. It's like, if you've noticed, the three of us have done transitions on our channels, and it's great. I love what I'm doing now. So I don't think we should quit. Like, I feel like if you don't find being a booktuber something that brings you joy, if you look at it and you only see your downfalls and your failures, it's time to let your booktube channel go. But if it's something that brings you joy, get back into why you started it. Like, it's one thing to have input from your subscribers. It's great. It's engagement. It's interaction. Plus, it's kind of cool to know that people want to talk to you. But don't let that be the only reason that you're making videos. Don't let them tell you what you need to make for them. They started watching you because you were making videos you wanted.
This is the facts. So
like,
true.
I love BookTube. I love the people I've met, but I can't stand book Twitter and its entitlement, and that entitlement flows into people's
comment sections,
and it's just outrageously disrespectful. Like,
who?
What?
I feel like book Twitter has its moments, because I do like that people hold people accountable now, and you can't really get away with the bullshit that was happening on BookTube before. But there is a double-edged sword, and there is a dark side to that, because then what ends up happening is people start bullying people. People start dragging people for the sake of dragging when there's really no reason for them to be dragged. There's all these petty squabbles and drama that really could have been avoided, all because you said that you didn't like Sarah J. Maas. Oh no, here we go with the pitchfork. It's like,
can I add something to that? Because this may be a little...
You might as well. You know, we don't care.
Well, I'm just going to say it. I don't comprehend in personal matters you and another booktuber on to book Twitter. Just so all of book Twitter can go harass that person. Now, I'm not talking about racist stuff or homophobic stuff. I'm talking like, I don't know, Anna told you that she ain't FUCK with you no more, and then you bring it all up on Twitter, and I'm just like, why do I care about that? Why? Like, what is that? It has nothing to do with anything.
Listen, did we not have a whole podcast? What about your friends? That's still very applicable here. Very, very applicable. We will say that to the end of our days. please be careful who you telling all your business to, because some people only want to use you to blow up. And when they blow up, that means you're about to burn.
This is true.
Screenshots are for bitches, but people still post them.
It is really, to me, it speaks of people that never learned true communication skills.
Yeah.
And people who want to galvanize their following to go do their quote unquote dirty work for them. Like,
it's amazing how it happens.
Do not turn your followers into a Gestapo to come against somebody else.
Oh my God.
I'm straight up, because that's what it's like. It's literally a witch hunt. It's literally you, especially when you have a bigger platform than the person that you're quote unquote beefing with, and you literally unleash all of your 25K, 30K, 50K, whatever you have, followers on to this person. It's not okay. It's never going to be okay.
Yeah, you never know what people are going through. And not to mention, I've noticed that it's been a lot of that type of situation happening. And when the full story comes out, it's like, oh, so that wasn't what, like, I just need us to come back to a sense of humanity where it's like, if you're beefing with somebody, please go talk about it with your friends. Please don't put it on Twitter.
And settle it in private.
Now, if it's something racist or homophobic within the booktube community, or one of the icks or isms,
then,
and you have solid proof, I need to reiterate that part one more time because that happens a lot too. If you have solid proof, let it rip.
Yep.
If you,
if you're holding somebody accountable,
yeah, that part. If you're holding somebody accountable, yes. But if you just don't like the person and you want to use the community to gang up on a person, you are no better than the person that you claim hurt you. Like, we have got to be better just in general, because we're losing people who make really good content because they lost their spirit to keep making videos and stuff because of how terrible the community is, which means we're going to be left with people who don't even read as our spokespeople. And that's just messed up. Like, there are people who really put time and effort into their videos and they don't get the views they deserve. And like, it leaves them downtrodden. And it's like, that's not fair. Like, there are people that I used to watch that are no longer present because they said they don't want to be a part of the community.
Wow.
And I feel that, because if you make one mistake, there's a difference between doing something that you really can't come back from, like being racist or being homophobic. But they'll be like, I really don't like this book. Like, this book was kind of trash. And then all these people will come for them. And I'm just like, are y'all really like trying to cancel somebody because they didn't like a book?
Yep.
In a book community?
In a book community?
Let me say this. If you don't actually read the books that you're pretending to read and are making videos about, I just want you to know that you're not a booktuber. You are an advertising channel. Okay?
Oh, shoot.
You make ads.
Oh, damn.
Pew, 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 pew.
It just boils my blood. Like, this, I can't.
Who?
I would rather have somebody say, you know what? I only read one book this month. I wasn't a reading slump. I didn't feel like reading. But guess what? I was playing, what is that game that y'all were playing during quarantine?
Animal Crossing is still fantastic. Let's be clear.
Never remembers the name of that.
That's all I've been playing.
So let me just make a vlog where y'all can watch me play that game that I can never remember the name of. And let's just call it a day. Like, you know what? I didn't read any books this month. It's fine. Here is a vlog of me like skipping around my room. Like, I don't care. Just be honest with me, or just, I don't have any videos to post right now, but I did buy some books. I'll post a haul. I would rather take that in the honesty than trying to watch somebody who's really trying to convince me that they read a book that I've also read, so I can tell that you didn't actually read it because you're not making sense. Like, what you're saying about the book and what happened, it sounds like you went on Goodreads 10 minutes before you filmed it.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm sorry. I just had to say it.
The shots being
I need
fired.
to
And if it's not you, you're not
continue
going to be
because
offended.
normally it's me. Please continue to drag the
Please.
please continue. We're here. I love it.
Well, here's my thing. If it's not you, you're not going to care.
Yeah, period.
If it is you, I mean, have I lied?
That's so true though. Like I noticed we could be talking, and if somebody gets offended, it's like, well, why did you get offended when we said
Why
that?
did you get offended, baby?
Why? Is it because it's you?
It sounds like the shoe fits, and if so, lace them up.
Ah!
Oh,
Don't forget to wear socks.
but that's what we've all been talking about though. This like pressure, you know what I'm saying? Like that's not what this community should be about. This is about genuine readers and a love for reading. You should not feel so pressured to create content that you are literally doing what we used to do in high school when we went on Spark Notes. Now this is showing my age.
Spark Notes.
Shout out.
But let me tell you what, in high school, when they would give us those dry ass required reading books that we didn't want to read, that were classics, okay, whatever. I'm not going to read Portrait of Artist as a Young Man. I'm just not. We're going to go on Spark Notes. We're going to get the main plot points, and we're going to get an A on this test.
Period.
Like, that's what it's become. And it makes me so sad because I'm just like, it's okay to admit, you know what? I'm not reading. Like, there are literally booktubers that will tell you, I am a slow reader. I'm probably only going to be able to do one video a week, maybe 2 videos every other week, because I'm not out here reading 15 books a month, 30 books a month. Like, that's not me. That's just not, like, I would be lying to y'all if I'm telling you that I'm reading 15 books a week. And there are people that do that, and that's great. But I appreciate the honesty of them being like, I can't give you that type of output. It's just not possible. So I read 1 or 2 books a month, 5 books a month. I will review those. I will give you my thoughts. And everything else was going to be a reading vlog because I ain't got it. Like, I can appreciate that level of honesty.
Yep.
Because I can trust that creator. I'm like, okay, well, whatever you're going to put out there and whatever you're going to tell me, I can trust you because you're telling me what it is up front versus feeling so much pressure to make content that you're out here trying to convince me that you read a 700-page book in 2 days. Like, and then you also read
with a full-time job.
Then you also read 10 other books, but then when you're giving me the wrap up, it's dry. Like, oh, this was interesting.
No, when they give the wrap up, they can't even tell you what the book's about.
You're not even. I'm just like, and I've read the book, and I'm like, wait, what?
That ain't it.
That's not. Oh, okay. And it's like I can't do it anymore. So I just want people to stop doing that. Like, stop feeling the pressure. If you're not reading 30 books a month, it's okay. It's okay.
And if you are, I'm jealous.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Teach me your ways.
I think it was Bookish Bethany, I think, was on Instagram one day, and she was like, I read 2 books today. And I was like, it's not even 2 o'clock. Like, I'm jealous. I can't even get through 30 pages right now. Like, I'm so jealous.
I mean, there are people that read really fast, and there are people who work from home, so they're able to get more time to read. People who are, don't have full-time jobs. There's so many situations where people are able to read so much, and I think that's amazing because I used to have that lifestyle. Like, a couple years ago, I worked from home and I had a part-time job, and I was reading legitimately like 15 to 30 books a month easily. But that's not feasible for everybody, especially if you're a slower reader, or maybe even people who have certain disabilities or can only read via audiobook, or are blind. Like, people have so many contingencies that maybe you are dealing with dyslexia, all sorts of things. And it's like, we don't talk about this enough on BookTube.
Nope.
We don't talk about the reading impaired. We don't talk about people who may not necessarily be able to read so fast or so this or so that. But yet there's this constant pressure to produce content. Like, oh, I got to pump it out. I got to make 3 videos a week. I got to make 5 videos a week. I got to do this. And it's like, no, it's okay. It's okay. And I would rather have you be honest, and maybe your channel won't grow as fast, and you're going to get there eventually, than you literally lie to my face and try to tell me that you read all these books when, I mean, I'm watching the video and I know you didn't. I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? It's funny you should say that, because I remember when I first started booktube, I used to be so insecure about how little I read in a year because a lot of people like don't really like when they think of mental illness and they think of, depression, anxiety, and bipolar disorder, all these mental illnesses, they think of it as what they see on TV. They don't realize, like, for instance, the anxiety disorder that I have makes it super hard for me to keep my attention on things. Like, I have professors, each one of them, and beg them to let me record their lectures by audio so I can go back and listen to it because be listening and then I will miss 10 minutes of something they're saying. So my attention span just isn't there. I can't physically do it. And so sometimes I'll read a chapter and be like, wait, what did I just read? I have to go back and reread it. So it's hard for me sometimes. Sometimes reading can be exhausting for me. Even though I love it, I sometimes have to be like, well, you know what? I can't do this today because my head hurts. I can't pay attention. And no one talks about that because I feel like BookTube is very centered around how many books, which if you're reading a lot, that's amazing. I mean, nothing's wrong with that. But if you also don't read but a book that month, you shouldn't have to feel bad because someone else read like 50 in a month.
Yeah. We don't celebrate diversity of readers. It's like, because I saw a question that was, how do people fly through audiobooks so fast? I fly through audiobooks, and not fly as in like they're at like 5.0 speed. I fly through them as in like, because I work during the day. I could literally listen to 9 hours of an audiobook at work. Like it's a thing. So like I feel like there's this idea on BookTube like there's only a certain type of reader that's celebrated. And it's like, no, we need to like the reason we have so many booktubers and the reason that so many people are able to or should be able to flourish in this community is because we all represent a different kind of reader. Like I know for a fact, and Jerry is a slow reader. But every review that Jerry does on her channel makes the book added to my TBR.
Right. I think
because
sorry, go ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
No, I was just saying you made a huge point there where you said we don't celebrate the diversity of readers and how different we all are. And it reminds me of the natural hair community, a very toxic community, by the way. But the natural hair community, there's this whole stigma of the only natural hair YouTubers that are celebrated are the ones with the waist length, long, super dense, or 3C, 2A curls. It's like a very specific type of image that is respected. And I kind of feel the same way about BookTube as like the booktubers that are respected are the ones that read 30 books a month or 15 books a month, that read like a specific type of book, a specific genre, and that look a certain way. And so many things play into it, like pretty politics fall into it, and desirability politics, like so much. And this isn't discussed enough in the community of the type of booktubers that are celebrated, and honestly, the type of booktubers that are even obviously being pushed by the YouTube algorithm.
Also, wait, we have to pause. Here's another Brittany TED Talk. Just because we say we need to talk about the kind of things in the community does not mean that people who are the ones who are celebrated deserve to be bullied. It is not their fault.
It is not.
The only people you should be mad at for these people being celebrated is yourself for putting them on that platform. The community determines who's popular and who's not. They don't get it's wrong to punish somebody because they're successful because they have a certain quality that most people are attracted to. That's not fair. I'm so sick of seeing that on Twitter. It's got to stop. Like, it's not her fault or his fault or their fault that they get the views they get. Like, you watch them.
Exactly.
So I just needed to please continue because I'd be like, listen, I see a lot of stuff on Twitter. I don't comment anymore on Twitter because, again, I represent this book club and I don't want to get us canceled. So I don't say things on Twitter anymore. But since we have a podcast, I do like y'all got to stop this weird idea that somehow, for example, it'll be like, oh, like young white pretty girls get more viewers, and then you see them getting bullied on Twitter because they're young and white and pretty. What?
Yeah, that's very weird.
What? Blame the algorithm, because
Yes.
that's the only ones we see on the algorithm. Or here's the thing. I feel like we also need to address certain things that we may not be doing. What's your SEOs looking like? Do you tag your videos? When people search, have you ever tried to search your own channel? If you go type in the search menu on YouTube right now for your channel, does your channel pop up as number 1, number 2, number 3? Do you got to scroll a little bit? Oh, we lost Oshale. Do you got to scroll a little bit till you see your channel? Like, are you doing everything you can for the exposure that your channel needs?
Are you utilizing tags? Are you doing things that, I know people don't like doing this, but sometimes you need to do popular videos.
And even if you don't want to do popular videos, if y'all notice, every time I do a book video, it's tagged a certain way. Every time. Oh no. There we go. It's tagged a certain way. So instead of there is a lack of accountability that just makes it absolutely nuts. It's like, oh, I'm not getting it. It's because of this. Nah. Now, don't get me wrong. There are plenty of things that we as Black people can be mad about. But I refuse to sit here and put the blame on people who didn't have anything to do with it. Do I drag racists? Every day. Do I drag anybody who perpetuates an ism? Every single day. But I will not sit here and say the only reason I don't have subscribers. Well, I've said that before. I don't have subscribers because I'm a darker skinned woman and I'm intelligent and I come off to what some people would call aggressive. I understand the microaggressions that would hinder my channel, but that has not stopped me from properly making sure that I'm tagging my videos appropriately, that I'm trying to push my own stuff. Like, I'm trying to work around the system that was created. I'm not blaming the people who benefit from the system. I'm blaming the system itself.
There we go.
So the sooner everybody does that, the less drama we'll see on Twitter. Because I'll be like, y'all got to be kidding me. What did she do? Oh, well, she got picked. I'm sorry. So she wasn't the one who did it? No. So what the
And that is the perfect take from this. You are not blaming the people that benefit from the system. You are blaming the system itself.
Yes.
Yep.
Amen.
Facts on facts. Facts on facts on facts.
One of the things I wanted to say.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I read a comment. One last thing I wanted to talk about that revolves around BookTube is please stop telling people that they can't buy hundreds of books if they want to buy hundreds of books.
Oh, let's talk about it, honey.
Can we have another TED Talk moment?
Please.
Yes. We didn't call this the Black Pros TED Talk. Welcome to the Black Pros TED Talk. How dare you, Dusty Mud Buckets, tell other people how to spend their hard-earned money? Do you pay their bills? I forgot. Did you buy their groceries? How dare you get on Beyonce's Twitter and tell other people? I saw a tweet today from a girl. I forgot which channel it was. She was like, I decided not to post my haul video because of all the backlash. Sis, did they buy those books for you? Do they pay those bills? Do they run your electricity? Do they dictate how you live your life? I was like, half of y'all don't even have a credit score. You are not going to come on here and tell me how I'm spending my money. If I want to buy 40 books and put them on a shelf and show y'all that goddamn shelf that I bought, I'm going to do just that. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Don't sit here and try to turn it into a consumerism thing because you can't afford it. Ooh. Like, I saw that and I was like, how? Wait, what? No. if you don't want to buy 40 books, you don't have to. But what you not gonna sit here and do is blame and make it seem like the people who choose to do that are some type of villain. If you fall into a peer pressure where you feel like you gotta buy everything that they're buying, look into yourself and stop following them, because it's clearly a trigger for you. This is something you need to work out yourself. They didn't do nothing but buy something that made them happy. And for you to sit there and try to shun them for buying something that makes them happy, you a bitter, dusty bitch. And that's just what it is. And if you don't like it, my Twitter is at Melanin Eclectic. And if you feel so bold to come tell me you didn't like it, be warned, I am not afraid of you. I'll tell you the same thing I just told you now. Thank you for coming to the Black Rose TED Talk.
Period. Because listen, that's not consumerism. It sounds like you have a shopping addiction.
It reminds me of this girl that I got into a conversation with at one of my old jobs, who basically tried to shame me because I like decor and I like buying stuff, because she was a minimalist.
Oh my
She was
gosh.
trying to convince me that I needed to have a capsule wardrobe and that I was consuming too much and I was destroying the earth and I was doing this and I was doing that. And I literally looked her dead in the face and said, so I've already done minimalism. It was called being poor and broke in my early 20s and in college. And I had nowhere to sit. I had one plate, one spoon, one fork, one knife, and one cup.
Listen, can we talk about the day that I bought a big screen TV before I bought a couch or a bed and I propped it up on a Tupperware bed? Listen, you buy what you want.
I was like, I had 3 pairs of shoes, 1 coat, 1 scarf. I'm not doing that again.
Period.
Come too far.
Period.
She literally just looked at me. I was like, okay, thank you. She never spoke to me about minimalism ever again.
I was like, dang, yo, like, plus I know to some people, like what Ursula said, I don't ever want to get back into a position where I feel like I can't buy the things that I want to buy. So am I more responsible because I have a budget and I'm trying to like do things? Yes, but it's not going to stop me from like buying what I want. Now, again, Troy is right. It's a very high possibility that some of these people have a shopping addiction that they want to address. That is also a fact. But that's not what y'all talking about, though. Y'all talking about consumerism. That's sis. Yes. They might have an addiction. But at the same time, them very same people better not post one goddamn GoFundMe.
Oh, no.
You better go fund them books back to the store. No, ma'am, you don't get to flaunt that you got money to buy things and then want me to pay for your real expenses. That's not how it works. So if I'm going to allow you to buy what you want, I'm also going to be like, but why am I funding you?
Ooh. Ooh. I mean,
am I the only? Go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
No, you said that last time. Go.
I was only going to say it's all about allowing people to be who they are and staying in your own lane. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had nothing against that girl being a minimalist. I was letting her live her life. But it's that place where you see the world one way and then you try to impress that upon others. And when they don't agree with you, you start trying to shame them for being who they are. And that's not acceptable. Like, people should not be shamed for buying. I mean, saying the sentence just sounds weird. People should not be shamed for buying books. Like, what the fuck? What?
Because I can't even understand it, because I don't know if this is just me, but I feel like this has to be a lot of people. Because when I don't have no money, I'll be window shopping. I'm like,
oh my God, filling carts just to delete the page.
And then the minute my money hits, I'll be like, listen, Poppy War ain't getting bought.
You start putting shit back. Save for later.
You know when you broke waiting for that next paycheck and like you have like 8 tabs open on your computer and every one of them is a different store with the cart like $300-$400, and then when it actually comes down to you buying something, it'd be like you spent $20.
Yes. Sometimes the satisfaction just comes from putting it in your cart.
Yeah.
And then you're like, actually, I don't need this. I'll get it from the library. I'm good.
Yep.
Like I said, you do what you want to do. I respect your rights to do what you want to do. But at the very same time, if you are going to flaunt it, you better not ever post a GoFundMe. Y'all better have your life insurance better be paid up. Your bills better be paid up. Your car better be paid up. Like, do not post 150 book haul and then in the very next day be on Twitter asking for a GoFundMe. It's not going to happen. There's two sides to every coin.
Talking about you buy all these books, but how many did you read? Girl, why do you care?
Right. I'd be like, ooh, we got it. Like, again, BookTube would be better if we just appreciate everybody for their differences. There are minimalist book readers. There are slow readers. There are readers who just take a very long time. There are some people who can read 3-4 books at a time. There are people who read 3 books in a day. Lucky. We should be celebrating all of the different readers. That's why we have readathons in the book club meeting notes that we have ideas from that address different types of reading. And so when we do our prompts, we also think about that kind of thing, which I feel like that should be a whole other podcast where we talk about readathons and how they cater to one type of reader.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So to wrap this up, we are way past our hour and a half mark.
Always.
We do this.
We do. Wrap this up. I want to talk about what do we feel is next for BookTube and BookTube as a space, and also just each of us as individual creators in our corners of this bookish world.
Wow.
Socially, always got us deep thinking.
Right. Over here talking shit. Now she want to make us think. I think.
Or what do we want to be next? How about that?
I want Black authors and Black stories to be appreciated without having the title Black on them.
That's deep.
It is.
Because we don't ever, there's entire genres where it's like Black this, Black that. Other groups of people aren't lumped like that, except for LGBTQ, which I also feel should not have to be labeled a specific way to be considered worth reading. That's where I want to see the book world go. And do I know that that's way too wishful thinking? Absolutely. But I would like it to not have a race or an identity attached. I want all of those books to be considered automatic New York bestsellers the same way that white authors are, because you don't have to state their race. You don't have to state their identity. It just immediately gets pushed.
Right.
And I want that, because if we are fighting for a sense of equality means that I don't have to tell you what I am for you to treat me equally.
Amen.
So that's what I really want to see. And I also would love to pray that book Twitter chills out, but I know that's never going to happen, because as we get older, there's a different group of people on Twitter nowadays that we can't connect with. And that's why we see it and we just like, nah, we can't do it.
This is true.
Basically like aunties at this point on BookTube.
Basically.
This is probably a long shot as well, but I would actually like for in the future for booktubers to stop when they're trying to shout out other creators, to stop putting at the beginning that they need to follow this person because they're Black. And I'm just like, okay, but that sounds very
performative.
Yes, exactly. Like, if someone comes to my channel and they genuinely like my recommendations, like if you like things that I have on my channel, great. But don't just go, okay, I'm gonna subscribe, now stop talking to me. That's what y'all sound like.
Yes.
I would rather, you guys, like Brittany said, equality means that it's just not that, oh, here's a list of all these Black booktubers, go subscribe to them. No, like subscribe to them because you are giving us equal opportunity as you would give your white counterparts.
Yeah, that would be great.
That would be great. I would love to see more recognition for smaller creators. And I would also,
especially the creative ones.
Yeah.
yes. And I would also love to see smaller booktubers and medium level booktubers get more opportunities from publishers and be just as considered for partnerships with publishers, especially because it seems that only the bigger booktubers get considered, and a lot of times it's not a good fit. Like like they could have found a smaller creator that was a better fit for that partnership or that ad, or that, like, I think a lot about like the booktube show on YouTube
Mm-hmm.
and some of the authors that they get, and they only pull from the larger creators to be a part of interviewing that author. And every time I see an episode, I'm like, oh, this is great, I'm glad they got this opportunity, but it would have been really cool to see such and such do it, because they've read every single one of this person's books and they're a huge fan, but they didn't get the opportunity because they're smaller. So it's like they don't do enough research
Nope.
to try to find the best fit for the partnerships. So I mean, that's accountability on YouTube's part, so, and publishing and the publishers' parts. And I would love to see these bigger creators be like, you know what, thank you so much for this opportunity. I already have 100,000K, I already have 50K, I'm good, like, this is amazing. But do you know who this would be really great for? This would be really great if you could find somebody that actually has read this person's books.
You
That
want
would be really
big
amazing.
booktubers to Zendaya the publishers?
Basically.
I love that.
Because that's what a community is. When you talk so much about wanting to give smaller creators, especially creators of color, a leg up and create an even playing field and better opportunities, you kind of have to put your money where your mouth is. It's one thing for you to make, a post in your Instagram stories, or to post a clip in your reading blog of you sitting on the floor with no makeup on talking about Black Lives Matter. Like, that's
Oh
great.
shit.
But
oh my God. Okay. Sorry.
y'all threw me off. But like, you have to really, like, but when this publishing company approaches you about a Tiffany D. Jackson launch, and are you taking it and running with it? Or are you like, well, you're coming to me and I'm literally like a white woman from Minnesota. Like, maybe you should go to this Black creator. Maybe you should go to this person. When they approach you with a LGBTQ plus book with a non-binary and you just run with it, maybe it's like, oh, maybe you should, have you done research? Because this so-and-so, I know they only have, 4,000 subscribers. I know they only have 300 subscribers, but they make amazing content and they are non-binary. Like, it doesn't take much.
It doesn't.
And you're not losing out on anything. You're not losing out. And that's the thing that I don't like. It's like this weird crab in a bucket mentality. Like, you have already achieved so much. What would it lose for you to just hand the opportunities to the people that would actually mean a lot to them and that would be best fitting for those opportunities? That's what I would like to see.
Oh my gosh, wait, I just remembered another one. And this is gonna hurt, but when I say it, I still mean it. I would like for us, I would like for us adults, who most of us are at the age of 18, to stop letting YA be the main spokesperson for BookTube. I would also like YA to be recognized for the age category that it is written for. I would also also like for BookTube to stop comparing every magical school to Hogwarts.
Ooh.
I would
Why
like.
are you just hitting people in the chest like this?
I said it's gonna hurt. I warned you first. I would like every. I would like books, and again, I read YA. I don't shun YA, but I have to actively look for adult, and we are all adults. So when you're reading a book and you feel like, oh my God, they're so immature. You're 22 reading a book about a 14-year-old. Yes, it's supposed to be immature to you. So I would like BookTube to recognize the age that we are. Yes. And recognize that YA is not the only book category that deserves to be recognized for awesome.
That's the part that gets me, is when people do book reviews and they're like, she was so whiny, she was so I'm like, have you met a 14-year-old? Like, I'm just like, have you been around a 16-year-old recently? Because you might want to revisit. Like, you might want to just go to your old high school, not in a creepy way, but just walk through the halls.
Not in a creepy way.
Not in a creepy way.
You know what I mean? Because people complain in the reviews and they're like, I just didn't appreciate how this character was so immature. I'm like, the character was 15 years old. Like, I'm just, I am confused.
Okay, can I piggyback off that?
Heck yeah.
I'm going to add, I would like to stop hearing people in videos going, why aren't there fantasies for this age bracket? It's only YA.
Oh, shoot.
Bullshit. There are straight up 40, 50, 60, 70-year-olds reading fantasy novels.
Yes.
YA. Please stop talking about that. You are not going and looking. Okay, when you walk into Barnes and Noble, if you go upstairs and go to the kiddie section, and outside the kiddie section says teen romance, then that is what you're going to get. You're going to get teen romance if that's a section you're in. There's a huge bookstore you could be going around and looking for. Goodreads has whole lists
Yep.
you can look into, and it'll tell you literally you could go onto Goodreads and do specific tropes, and people have specific troped list on Goodreads. Please stop talking about fantasies not being fantasies, or this only happens in YA, because I'm starting to think that you guys have the mentality of 16-year-olds. If you cannot physically go out and find a book, because you sit there and say she's whiny. Okay, if she's whiny, that's because you can't connect with her because you're no longer a child. Well, why don't you go to the adult section and find an adult fantasy?
Right. If you're going to read YA, appreciate YA for what it's supposed to be.
Yes.
Stop expecting YA to read like an adult novel. It's not an adult novel.
And that's not what they're writing for. I mean, don't y'all read that part, right before you hit add to cart where it says age group 6th grade through 12th? Do you not see that? Yes, I do.
Are we not looking at the same thing, sis?
And this is where you have to utilize your local library, okay? There are people that go to school, okay? They're called librarians, and their job is to recommend books to you. I remember the old school days. You go to the library, you say, I'm looking for this type of book that features da-da-da-da-da. You go up to the librarian. He, she, they will recommend you a whole plethora. Like, oh, let me show you this. Like, oh, this is good. This is good. And there's just no excuse. Like Troy said, there is no excuse.
Oh, one more. I would like urban fantasy. I would like anything titled urban to be just meaning in the city and not Black people or ghettos or any other type of microaggressive ass thing you want to attach to urban.
Urban, oh my God.
Look, that is why I have to call street lit, because let me tell you what, I refuse to call it urban
romance
literature.
Like they used to.
I refuse.
Because like when I was younger, I remember like, I went to white schools, they would be like, oh, urban romances. And I'm just like, that just means blackity black romances, doesn't it? All you're saying is you're replacing what the N-word or blackity black with
Yes.
Okay, one day we should have a podcast that's just TED Talks, but we're about to hit a 2-hour mark, and that is not podcast material at all.
We have been here way too long. We have been having way too much fun tonight. We have been here way too long.
Yep.
Well, on that note, we are going to wrap this on up. Please remember to like this. If you are watching right now and you have not liked this stream, please give us a like. That really does help with our engagement. We are now the proud owners of a Patreon.
Yay!
So if you did not catch our last live where we revealed our Patreon, we now have a Patreon. Please go support us. The link is in the description, www.patreon.com/Black Pros Club. We would really appreciate your support. We're trying to get podcast equipment. We're trying to get merch for y'all. We're trying to make extra content. We're trying to do some stuff out here. So we would really appreciate your support. If you do decide to join our Patreon, you have our unending gratitude. Please don't
If you
forget.
can't,
Oh,
just
sorry.
share this.
Yes. Yes. Please share this on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you would like to share, Facebook. Follow all of our socials. I'll try to put a list in the description, but all of our socials will be listed down there. And our next live will be on Sunday, this upcoming Sunday. I believe it is at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be discussing our third quarter pick, Behold the Dreamers by Mbolo Mbiu. You still have time to read the book. I recommend the audiobook. Put it on 2.4 speed, okay? That's good enough.
Listen, the audiobook, the voice is very sexy. You'll like it.
Yup. I'm enjoying it. You'll be able to get through it quickly and join us for the book club discussion on Sunday.
Hope to see you guys there.
Yes, that's all I got. And that is it for this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will catch y'all on Sunday for the book club discussion.
Bye.